On January 19th, the social media app TikTok could be banned in the U.S. unless its Chinese parent company sells it. President-elect Donald Trump wants the Supreme Court to step in to delay that. In a briefing filed last week, Trump requested the High Court suspend the ban until after he takes office while he works on a, quote, political resolution. The ban would take place one day prior to Trump taking office. The U.S. government says TikTok's ties to China pose national security risks, but opponents say a ban violates the First Amendment. TikTok and its parent company ByteDance will appeal the ban before the Supreme Court on January 10th. Alan Rosenstein joins us now for more. He's an associate professor of law at the University of Minnesota Law School. Alan, I'm so grateful that you're here to talk about this. From a legal perspective, what grounds does an incoming president have to make such a request to the Supreme Court? Like, delay this until I can figure out political remedies. And what are the different options that the justices could take?
Sure. So the answer to your first question is pretty simple. There are no legal grounds. Being the president-elect does not give you special powers, does not give you special authorities. You are not the president until the day you are the president. And although it is bad timing for TikTok and for Trump that the law goes into effect the day before he becomes president, that's just too bad. There's really no basis in law for Trump making this request. And it's actually quite notable that the argument he makes cites very few cases and really cites very little law. I think he, or at least his lawyer, the incoming Solicitor General, understands that, and they're just hoping that politics rather than law sways the justices. So then would the Supreme Court just sort of ignore that brief, or would they actually respond to it and say, no, sorry, we're not going to do that? I think the Supreme Court will just ignore the brief.
Okay.
Trump is not a party to this case. He is simply submitting this as a friend of the court, just something that interested parties do all the time, and the court almost never responds to those briefs. It takes them into account, and I'm sure that the justices and their clerks will read that brief carefully, but I'd be extremely surprised if they even mention the brief, let alone if they agree to Trump's really unorthodox and frankly legally unsupportable request.
So let's go ahead and talk about those oral arguments that set to take place January 10th. What do you expect to see from ByteDance and from the government?
Well, I think we're going to see basically a rerun of the arguments that occurred at the D.C. Circuit, the intermediate court where this all started a few months ago. ByteDance, TikTok, the users are all going to argue quite reasonably that this law is a pretty substantial infringement on the First Amendment. And the government is going to argue quite reasonably that there's a very profound national security case, both based on data privacy and also the threat of Chinese manipulation of TikTok. And then the justice will simply have to decide which of those values wins out in this case. I suspect that they're going to rule very similarly to how the three judges on the DC Circuit did, which was to say that although the First Amendment issues were important, in this particular case, the facts were such the national security values won the day.
Would we know that result prior to this ban going into effect January 19th? Would we know the justice's decision?
We likely will. Now, traditionally, when the justices hear a case, they take several months after oral argument to write the opinion. And then when they announce the judgment, which is to say who wins in the case, they also issue their sometimes very lengthy opinion. But they don't have to. Traditionally, after the judges or after the justices hear an argument, they go back to their chambers and they vote amongst themselves which way that they're going to rule. And then based on that, the opinions are assigned, and then it's several months process. But they usually know that day who won the case. So what I suspect is going to happen this time, and why I think the justices decided to schedule this argument the way they did just a few days before the law goes into effect, is that they will hear the oral argument, they will vote, they will decide. I think they will rule in favor of the government, but either way, they will vote. They will announce that decision very quickly, maybe that same day, certainly within a few days. And then they will say, and our opinion will come at some future date. So we will know the answer to whether the law is upheld or not. It may take us some time to know the legal rationale behind that.
So my last question to you is, if the ban goes through, what will that look like for users?
So that's not entirely clear, actually. The ban does not prohibit users from using TikTok. It does not prohibit TikTok from existing. The ban prohibits app stores like Apple and Google from distributing the app. And it also prohibits cloud service providers like Oracle from hosting TikTok on their servers. Now, what that means is that it's quite possible that on January 19th, if the law goes into effect, users who already have the app downloaded on their phone won't actually notice a difference because the app will continue to operate with TikTok TikTok servers as long as TikTok has moved those servers abroad. It may also be possible to use the TikTok app, TikTok service rather, through the web browser. There's some complications there. But I think what is likely to happen is that if the ban continues for days, for weeks, for months, over time, service will degrade. And the concern for TikTok is that although the most sort of hardcore TikTok users will always be able to use the app, at some point it may become so inconvenient for regular users that they leave in droves to competitors like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. And at some point, TikTok will simply lose the kind of cachet that it has in the critical mass of users that it currently has in the United States.
All right, guys, so there you go. It looks like the TikTok ban is coming in January 19th. That is 10 days from now. Yeah, you guys saw the actual report there. It looks like if you are a user and you have TikTok, then you should be fine. If you have never downloaded it, it will not be available on Google App Store or the iTunes Store, you know, depending if you have an iPhone or Android. And, you know, eventually, if it drags on, service will eventually degrade to a point where it's difficult for people to use it. The Chinese government controls all of the actual businesses in China, and ByteDance, who owns TikTok, is controlled by the Chinese government, the CCP. And basically, it was ruled within the House and also signed off by Joe Biden that TikTok, unless it was sold to an American company by January 19th, it would basically be banned. So, and it looks like from this article, it looks like the Chinese does not want to break it up, which is completely understandable. You know, the argument is that TikTok is used as a spy gate for the Chinese against America and all other countries that use it. So there you go, guys. You guys, let me know in the comments what you guys actually think regarding this. I would love to hear from you guys and let me know what you guys actually think. I want to let you guys know something. We are doing a giveaway here on the Nick Driver channel this week, and it will end next Thursday. And yeah, man, so I have this book here, guys. It is called American Crusade. It is by Pete Hegseth, who will be the incoming defense with the military under the Trump administration, if all goes well and he actually goes and gets the actual job. We're still kind of looking into that, seeing what's going to happen as a country. We'll see what happens. It's a great read. It's a great book. All you guys have to do to really enter this is go into the comment section and write something crafty, write something funny. You can do it on multiple different videos. And what I will do at the end of the week, I'll pick what I think is the best comment. And yes, you can comment multiple times over multiple videos, guys. So let's get to it, man. And then I will send you this book if you want to be a part of this. So hope you guys have a great day. You take care. You watch on Nick Driver podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell to get all notifications when I upload videos. You guys take care. Be safe.